anybody wants to speak can speak. I just want to say, on the aggressive side of things, I think if you run the numbers, it becomes very clear that all the increases in costs and the increases in tuition over the last 6 years can be reversed without too much trouble at all. We're not going to take the time to do all the numbers today, maybe the next meeting.
Well, we can go back further than that because our budget analysis went back to 1999.
Yeah, so we really think you can cut tuition by 2/3 almost immediately. You can cut the cost of administration by 2/3 almost immediately. We've certainly asked all the candidates who want to speak, or want to put themselves up for this presidency to consider the notion of taking a salary that is only equivalent to the highest professor's salary plus 20%, as opposed to a salary that's 3 or 4 times that, which is highly unnecessary. If we can cap the cost of administration, it's not going to be too hard to bring it back down. What happened during the recession is that you heard earlier about cronyism and featherbedding. In the height of the recession, in the summer of 2009, when they knew they were going to have to furlough and cut back 10% for everybody, they handed out 3-year guaranteed deals to administrators like candy and locked them into these higher salaries. And there's no reason an administrator should be on a 3-year deal. 1-year deal with a review, see if their job needs to be there or if they need it, or if they're doing a good job. There's no reason we can't do that. It'll be easy to cut these things down. The minute we eliminate these 3-year deals, and then everybody wants a raise. Each 3-year deal means it goes up each year, and then when you get renewed, you want more. This can come down in a hurry. We can also, based on the numbers we've run, it would be quite possible to begin refunding money to students already. In order to get tuition down, we have to get the Board of Trustees to pass the tuition reduction. But if a campus has a surplus, there's no reason we can't pump that into scholarships and give money back to students through that service. Also, if we lead the way, we're leading the way of being the highest, having the highest cost administration of anything else. How about we lead the way the other way? And if we do that, believe me, the Board of Trustees will be only too happy to lower tuition if we show it can be done. Donors will only be too happy to help out on fundraising and scholarships and other ways of helping the campus out if they see that their money's actually going where they intended. What's happened, and I know because I've been not only a big donor, but a big fundraiser here, the campus wants to book donations so they can all make bonuses. So the individuals who are administrators can make bonuses by hitting certain targets. They don't really care if the money's really there. They don't really care about much at all. They just want to be able to say, I made this. We can easily make donations and fundraising a real effort and bring the community and bring industry tied to the campus in a number of different ways. Right now it's being tied individually. The last thing I'm going to talk about real quick before we introduce Earl is Earl comes from the outside, is an alumnus with 2 degrees from here who went out into the real world, and even though he also stayed in as an educator and a trustee of a school district, he's made his money, made his bones in real estate and entrepreneurial efforts. So he knows the real world of business pretty well and can talk about from the outside what it would be like to be an alumnus, what it would be like to be a donor, what it would be like to come back to this school that says they want to treat it like a business. Well, let's bring outside business folks to come in. It's always been my contention that there are retired CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who would be happy to come run this place for $1, just to prove they could and to bring some good leadership in here. So Earl's going to address that in a minute. But I just want to say we can undo the damage really quickly here. Within 2 years, those 3-year deals can go away. Within 2 years, we can cut those jobs that are unnecessary. You have to understand that it's a geometric progression, that there really is a Ponzi scheme going on here. If you hire a provost, then you have to, that provost can't really work very hard, so you need to hire 2 staff people for that provost. There's all kinds of perks that go along with it. So every hire winds up being this huge progression of hires. That's how we've gone up we've tripled the size of the administration during the recession. And still the most absurd comment ever made, and it was made in public, and it was made to us and to reporters and others when we had a press conference with the administration, was by Mary Stevens, who runs the money here. And when we suggested to her that there ought to be cutbacks during a recession because they were asking for cutbacks from faculty to take 10% less. They were asking for cutbacks from students. They were saying, pay more tuition, but we're going to cut classes this semester, so you should go to less class sessions. That's how they handled it, right? So you're paying more for less. We said, how about cutting back the administration? And she said, oh, Don't you understand, in times of recession, we need to have more administrators to figure out how to do more with less. And we sat there thinking, did we really just hear that? How many rabbit holes did we all fall down to understand it? And she meant it, and we asked her to repeat it, and she repeated, we need more thinkers, more people to help us understand how we can spend less money. And the deals, they didn't bring these people in by the hour on a consultancy basis. They brought them in on 3-year guaranteed deals during recession. That's how we went from 1 provost to 3 provosts, because we were having cutbacks.
With benefits that equals a third of their salary.
Yeah, and we also found during that, just again back to public information being accurate or inaccurate, they were telling us how the campus was down by about $30 million, right? We were going to be $30 million underwater. We, idiots and liberal arts that we are, took one look at the budget and found $12 million hidden there, without even going into any detail. We just said, wait a minute, here's a rainy day fund, here's a slush fund, and here was the clever thing, which I guess, being in a film helped us understand because it was a little North by Northwestian. There were jobs, administrative jobs, they had allocated vast funds for, taken them off the left side of the ledger, okay, because the money was allocated, and didn't hire anybody, but didn't put it back on the balance sheet. So they were pretending they were out this money that they weren't out, and it added up to millions of dollars. And we said, we can find 12 million right now. They told us we were idiots and didn't know what we were talking about. We had this big press conference. A few months later, they magically started to announce, oh, we found some money because we hired these extra people who are brilliant. They found money for us, but they didn't say where it was. It was the same 12 million we knew was sitting there. Meanwhile, anyway, so this is what we're up against in terms of honesty, in terms of information. And again, why you all need to push and why you all need to question. We teach this to our students. Question, 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 question us. Don't take our word for anything, question. And then we fall into line like little sheep and let these guys just do it because we don't want to be bothered, because we're afraid to fight, because they retaliate if you say too much, as we know. Anyway, Earl, come up here and clean up this mess for us.
One last point on Brian's question. Come on up, Earl, while Earl's coming up. This is, what he's describing is not sui generis. Right. It's not happening in one place. If you remember, if you go back and think about the newspapers over the last year, remember we passed that proposition to increase taxes to help pay for tuition, right? Soon after that, the Park Service in California, which was facing closure of state parks, announced that they had found $20 million in a rainy day fund. And they were no longer having to close parks. And then I was on the phone with the state auditor, and I was talking about what we had found. It was 20 million, not 12. 20 million, and he said, well, you know, I'm hearing that all over the state. Every institution in the state, I'm hearing that from. And then after that, you had a press release from Jerry Brown's office saying we won't have to have as bad a year this year as we thought. Because they went through the organizational structure of the state of California and made all those institutions, all those agencies cough up their rainy day money.
But then what happens to that money when they find it?
It's
we know where it goes?
It's a one-time, they use it for the state budget, use it for the state budget to wipe out the deficit, but it was a one-time deal. Next year, we're going to have to get creative again and figure out how to solve this problem.
Right, but the reason why I'm asking this is because I have the sense that, for instance, in my department and other departments, it goes to give release time to the same people who keep getting it every year.
Well, this is an issue we really have to talk about, release time on this campus.
Yes, because it goes to the cronyism.
Yeah, tremendous loss of efficient use of money due to cronyism.
And it's demoralization.
It's totally demoralizing. And as I haven't been on a academically sponsored trip since I've been at this campus. When I first joined the university academe, years ago, one of the perks was you got to go on professional trips to present papers. Not since 1990, that's the second year here, all that disappeared.
Well, I'll tell you how creative the bookkeeping gets here, because it impacted me directly. And we know we have proof of it, because 3 different committees heard this. I always taught an overload, unpaid overload. I was booking credit so that we could start a new program, an MFA program, and I wanted the program to be cost-free. The way it was going to be cost-free was I overworked. I just taught them classes they would have had to hire other people to do. I'm not sure the union was too happy with me about doing it, but I did it, and we kept careful track of it with Don and Para, so that when the MFA program started, it literally, we actually told every committee this will only cost us $100 in Xeroxing fees every year because Brian's already booked, given it, we've got a credit on the books. What I did not know, but found out later, was Para wrote on his, he even found this out for me, Para wrote on the books that he had paid me the extra money. He deducted the money. And he deducted the extra money and wrote it off as a cost because he was then slipping that money into other places. I never saw it, nor did I want it.
My department never saw it.
Yeah, so it didn't, so that's what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
we still don't know on this campus where money is going. The Bob Cole thing, to discover that was shocking.
One of the things I do in my department is every semester I put in a public records request for FAD reports, release time, department budget. And I keep an eye on all this stuff. And I think if everybody did it in their department, it would be a very different, we'd be facing
Oh, yeah.
a very
If
different situation.
every department really kept track of who does what and where the money goes, we would find out a lot of money. Put it this way, there's nothing in any of the budgets that says Dean's discretionary fund or this provost's, and yet, if you talk to the deans, they have a discretionary fund, but there really isn't a fund, so where's the money coming from? We had a situation last year with a student